Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is now in session. The court is in session in cause number 330686. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Michael Joseph Gilder. Michael Gilder is appearing via Zoom. Mr. Gilder, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Gilder, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yeah.
Mr. Gilder, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Gilder?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Gilder, you're represented in your case by your attorney, Attorney Bruce Smith, who is also appearing via Zoom. Mr. Smith, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Smith, the state is represented in this case by Attorney Lamar Johnson. Attorney Johnson, how are you doing?
I'm well, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, I have before me a motion to withdraw as counsel. And Mr. Gilder, in this motion, well, first of all, Mr. Gilder, have you received a copy of this motion to withdraw?
No, I haven't received a copy of anything. But I went to court day before yesterday, and I already signed for my probation. And I think they're running everything concurrent.
Oh, so you talking, was that like on a felony case?
Yes, everything was together. This was
Oh, so you saying that they worked out this case through the felony?
that's what it says in the computer. Like it should be like time served, I believe.
Your Honor, I withdrew on the felony on January the 24th. And so apparently the court got him a new attorney. And but I filed both the motions to withdraw on the same day back in December. And in January, the felony court let me off the case.
Okay.
So evidently he had an attorney, a new attorney representing him on the felony. And I have no idea what kind of deal they cut.
Do you know whether or not that attorney, Mr. Gilder, was that attorney appointed to you?
Yes,
or,
sir.
Oh, it was an appointed attorney.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let me do this here. Mr. Gilder, I'll just read you the motion and then I'll ask you for a response. Now, Mr. Gilder, this motion that was filed by Attorney Bruce Smith states that now comes Bruce N. Smith movement and brings the motion to withdraw as counsel, and in support thereof shows one, movement is attorney of record for Michael Gilder and was employed to represent defendant. Two, good cause exists for withdrawal as counsel in that movement is unable to effectively communicate. This says with Frederick Brown.
That's a typo, Your Honor.
Okay, so that typo should be Michael Gilder.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so as to be able to adequately represent defendant. Defendant has failed to comply with the terms of the employment agreement with movement. That's number 3. And number 4, the withdrawal is not sought for delay, but that defendant might be represented by counsel of his choice. Number 5, the last known address of Michael Gilder is as follows. And it says Jefferson County Correctional Facility, Beaumont, Texas. And the last phone number of Michael Gilder, it has unknown. And it's a copy of this motion has been delivered to Michael Gilder, who was thereby notified in writing of his right to object to this motion. And number 8, the pending setting and deadlines in this case are as follows. And it says motion to withdraw January 24, 2023. And the prayer is wherefore premises considered. Moving prays that the court will grant this motion to withdraw on the face of this pleading. Alternatively, moving requests that the court set this motion or this matter for a hearing so that movement may represent or present evidence in support of this motion. Now, Mr. Smith is amending his motion to make the correction on the typo. Is that correct, Mr. Smith?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Gilder, are you opposed to Mr. Smith withdrawing in your case?
Slightly, but if that's what he wants to do, but I'm just trying to see if will this have to be reset and I have to get another lawyer?
We'll discuss that matter. We just need to know whether or not you're objecting to Mr. Smith withdrawing in this case.
He can get off the case.
Okay, so Mr. Smith, the court is going to grant your motion to withdraw. You're relieved of your obligations in this case. You're free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Gilder. Now, Mr. Gilder.
Yes, sir.
You have, since Mr. Smith has withdrawn as attorney from your case, you have three options. One option is you can hire an attorney. Now, the second option, if you cannot afford to hire an attorney, you can request that an attorney be appointed to represent you. And number three, you may waive your right to an attorney, which means give up your right to an attorney and to represent yourself. Now, I must inform you that if you want an attorney to represent you and you have enough money to hire an attorney, the case will be reset to give you time to do so. Now, if you want an attorney and do not have the money to hire one, you would have to fill out a financial questionnaire so that the proper person can determine whether or not to appoint an attorney to represent you. And the other thing is, if you want to waive your right to an attorney and to represent yourself, you cannot speak to the prosecutor. We have two prosecutors. They work for the district attorney's office in Jefferson County. You cannot speak to them about your case unless you first sign a written waiver of your right to have an attorney or to be represented by an attorney. Be aware that there are dangers to self-representation. Waiving your right to an attorney and representing yourself may result in a worse outcome for you and your case, including the loss of significant legal rights and opportunities relating to military service, possession of a firearm, housing and public benefits, child custody, immigration status for non-citizens, and employment. Now, if you choose to proceed without an attorney, you may change your mind at any time and may request counsel from the court. Now, Mr. Gilder, as I mentioned, you have three options. One, you can have this case reset to hire your own attorney, or two, you might want to see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney, or three, you may want to waive your right to an attorney to represent yourself. Do you understand?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay, now, what choice would you like to make?
Now that's a question, like if I represent myself, can we proceed with this today or I gotta wait?
Well,
the way they told me when I went to court on
let me tell you this here. If you waive your right to an attorney, well, first you have to sign a waiver of your right to be represented by an attorney. And then at that point, you'll be allowed to talk to one of the prosecutors that we have in court today.
All right, yeah, I'd like to get this done today because I already.
Okay, so let me do this here. Get the bailiff back into the room.